Hello and welcome back to Mrs. Achilles and Miss Paraso's video series. Today we're talking about standard form of a linear equation. So algebra students, make sure you get out your table of contents and write this down, add it to your table of contents, and find the next blank page in your composition book. Pause the video now to put it in your table of contents and add it to your notes. Welcome back. Standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c. Okay? Just like y equals mx plus b is slope-intercept form, we're talking about a different form of a linear equation today. It's a different way to write an equation of a line. A, b, and c in the equation must be whole numbers. A must be positive. So whenever you see an equation in standard form, you will know that these three numbers are going to be whole numbers, and this leading number, the a value, is going to be positive. Miss Paraso, do you have a question?
Miss Achilles, what should I do if there was a negative in front of A?
Then you will have to divide the entire thing by -1 to change this into a positive value, which will flip the signs for B and C as well.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so now we're going to use standard form to find the intercepts, which is going to be very helpful when we want to graph a line that's in standard form. We're going to use the example 3x plus 4y equals 24. Remember, the form is ax plus by equals c, and we said a, b, and c are whole numbers. A is a positive whole number. Remember, when you're looking for intercepts, the x-intercept is where y equals 0, and the y-intercept is where x equals 0. I want you to be writing this down, so if you need to pause the video to catch up, you can do that, but make sure you're following along and getting this in your notes. When I'm finding the intercepts, I like to make a little t-chart. One side for the x-intercept, one side for the y-intercept. So the x-intercept is where y equals 0. So we're going to take our equation and plug in 0 for y and then solve for x. So we have 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 24. Well, 4 times 0 is 0. 3x plus 0 leaves us with 3x equals 24. We divide everything by 3, both the left and the right side of our equation, and you're left with x equals 8. Or if you want to write that as an ordered pair, that's 8, 0. To find the y-intercept, we do the same thing, but now we're plugging in 0 for x, because we remember that the y-intercept is where x equals 0. 3 times 0 plus 4y equals 24. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 4y just leaves us with 4y equals 24. We divide both sides of our equation, or everything, by 4, and we come out with y equals 6. If you want to write that as an ordered pair, that's 0, 6. All right, so now we have another example, and we're going to show you how once you use the intercepts, once you find the intercepts, you can use them to graph your line. So this time our line is 2x minus 3y equals 18. Remember, standard form is just another way to write the equation of the line. You could write it in slope-intercept form. You could also write it in standard form. So we found our intercepts here. The x-intercept where y equals 0. I plugged 0 in for y in my equation, and I solved for x. So 2x equals 18. Divide everything by 2. X equals 9. Our x-intercept is 9, 0. For the y-intercept, again, we plug in 0 for the x value. We solve for y. 0 minus 3y leaves me with a negative 3y equals 18. I divide everything by -3, and I get y equals -6, or 0, -6 if we write it as an ordered pair. I've taken these points, 9, 0, and 0, -6, and I've graphed them on my coordinate plane. Now all I have to do is connect my 2 points to make a line. Remember, the intercepts are where the line crosses the axis. So the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. Now I want you to pause the video, find the intercepts for this equation, and graph them on a coordinate plane. Pause the video now and work out this problem. Welcome back. I hope you paused the video. Now we're going to do this together so you can check your work. We want to find the x-intercept, which is where y equals 0, and we want to find the y-intercept, which is where x equals 0. For the x-intercept, we're going to plug in 0 for y, so we have 5x plus 4 times 0 equals 20. Solve for x. 5x equals 20. Divide everything by 5, x equals 4. For the y-intercept, 5 times 0 plus 4y equals 20. 4y equals 20. Divide everything by 4, y equals 5. So when our x-intercept equals 4, remember that's 4 comma 0, or 4 on the x-axis. When our y-intercept equals 5, remember that is 0 comma 5, or 5 on the y-axis. If I could count. Here we go. Then we're going to connect our 2 points to make a nice straight. The last thing we're going to talk about today is changing from standard form, ax plus by equals c, into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So, if we start off with an equation in standard form, which this one is 4x minus y equals 16. That's our starting equation in standard form. We're going to first move the x over to the other side by subtracting 4x from both sides. That cancels out here. You're left with negative y on the left side, and now we have a negative 4x and a positive 16 on the right side. So we have negative y equals negative 4x plus 16. To change the negative y into a positive y, we're going to divide by negative 1 on the left and divide by negative 1 on the right. We're dividing everything by negative 1. So the negative y becomes positive, the negative 4x becomes a positive 4x, but the positive 16 becomes a negative 16. And now it fits into y equals mx plus b, where our slope is 4 and our y-intercept is negative 16. Pause the video now and try this example on your own, changing from standard form into slope-intercept form. I hope you paused the video. Let's check your work. The first thing we're going to do is subtract x from both sides. A positive x and a negative x cancel out. We're left with negative 7y equals negative x plus 14. Remember, we're trying to keep it in the order of slope-intercept form, which is why we write the x with its coefficient first, and then the number by itself second. Now to get rid of the negative 7, we're going to divide everything by negative 7. Everything on the left and everything on the right. This becomes y. Now we have a negative x. Remember, that means negative 1. So negative 1 divided by negative 7 is going to give us a positive 1/7 x. 14 divided by negative 7 is going to give us a negative 2. Ms. Pariseau, do you have a question?
Is it okay to just leave it as x over 7?
Yes, in fact, that is the same thing. If we say y equals x over 7 minus 2, we are saying the very same thing as 1/7 x.
All right, thank you. And guys, this is Ms. Pariseau. Sorry about the focus issues. Not sure what's going on today, but we will fix them before the next video. Have a nice night.
Bye.